We're back, baby. It's the charity stripe. Pitch your free throws because they are free. Joshua Fisher, Alexander, Toss Me the Rock, Tosopoulos, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Kreider. The Boston Red Sox stink, dude. The Red Sox stink.
But LeBron owns part of them.
Yeah, you know what? Whatever to that, honestly. Like, it's pathetic.
I don't think the fans of San Diego really give two craps about the Boston Red Sox.
Well, they should because you're welcome. They give you Xander Bogaerts. 11 years, $280. So it's the annual average is less than $28 million a year.
It's around 20. It's like 25 and some change.
That's ridiculous because as the years go on, that deal is going to look better because the average annual salary is obviously going up. 11 years, for all we know, the world could be over in 7 years. So those 4 years might not even matter, realistically.
Very true.
Right? With the way things have been going.
It's lately. Also, if you haven't heard, Xander Bogaerts is now a San Diego Padre. It's also insurance in case Manny Machado opts out. Because after the 2023 baseball season, Manny Machado has a player option, meaning he can option out, although there is some sentiment that the Padres ownership are going to do all their best to re-sign Machado if he does, in fact, opt out. But in case he goes somewhere else, it's insurance. Yeah. Because Tanner can play third, Tatis can play short.
DH.
I mean, this lineup is the best lineup that the Padres have ever constructed.
You have to feel pretty confident, Nick, as a Padres fan, that, well, one, there's a lot of time until that moment where Machado has to make a decision.
Right.
But two, he is the leader of that locker room right now.
Big time. And will stay the leader.
Yeah, and I think he's going to stay. If this team still has Tatis, they're going to have Bogaerts. Like, they're going to be competing. We'll see with SODE.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you stay?
A lot of these moves also, I believe, are to make Manny Machado happy and to make Juan Soto happy, because Juan Soto's got a big decision to make in 2 years as well, is if he's going to extend with the Padres. Obviously, it's going to come from how much money they're going to end up offering him, but they also want to win. Manny Machado's never won a World Series. Like, he's hungry for that win, and getting to the NLCS just makes it that much sweeter, right? Like, he's got a little taste of it. Now he wants the whole thing. So telling your captain of your team that you're going to be competitive for years to come entices him to stay. And obviously, there's a lot of money being thrown at these guys, but look, as a fan, it's not my money. It's not your money. It's Peter Seidler's money, the billionaire who owns the Padres. Yeah. If he wants to create a legacy and bringing San Diego a championship, all more power to him.
I mean, at some point, you have to make these moves, right?
Yeah.
You either have to stay a small market team, like the Pirates, like the Royals, Athletics, and builds the old school way from within, or you kind of got to nut up and start paying the big bucks and get competitive with these other guys and do a combo of both. That's what I guess frustrates me about the Red Sox. Look, if you're not going to re-sign Xander Bogaerts, and we were talking about this outside when we were coming into the office and studio today, Nick, if you're not going to re-sign Xander Bogaerts, fine. Why didn't you trade him at the deadline and get something from him? Why did the Cubs not trade Contreras?
And now he's playing in their division.
Yeah, he's replaced Yadi Molina for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
It's just like a bevy of moves that I sit there sometimes. I'm like, you know what? Like, I didn't play baseball. Like, I'm not a scout. I don't know if I could be a GM. And then I see these guys do these things, and I'm like, I would have made a better decision. I legitimately would have.
Was there a rumored amount that the Red Sox had a contract that they had offered to Bogaerts?
Yes, they did offer him.
They offered him, yeah.
But it was way under the value of what San Diego offered him.
And length, too, I'm sure.
From what, actually, value-wise, average salary per year was actually, I think, a little more than San Diego,
a little
I believe.
higher, yeah.
But the years is what really...
It's 11 years. You're not going to...
Yeah.
He's 41 at the end of it.
He's got... There's no options. There's no option. So that means, like, the team, they don't have to decline his option, and he can't decline an option. And there's a full no-trade clause as well. So he is fully protected for 11 years. If he wants to retire after 6 years on this contract, he can retire and continue to make that money.
Pretty good negotiating, I think, by his agent. Obviously,
Scott Boras, he's the best.
The Padres, at that point, they're not going to care. It doesn't really matter.
No.
Like, you're trying to win now.
Right. The window is now.
Yeah.
Well, you have to smell blood in the water. You've been talking about over the past couple of days, Nick, like the Dodgers being quiet.
They're vulnerable.
I think they're quiet. I just don't think they're doing anything. Like, the chips are falling. Like, they've already said no to Correa. They've not been mentioned. You can't count them out, but they have been mentioned for Carlos Rodon.
Right.
And then now you're in a situation where the best guy available is Dansby Swanson?
I think they...
Like, are you going to throw him $200 million?
I think they entertained the Judge thing a little bit because when the reports came out that Padres offered him $400 million, he was considering that. He was considering, of course, the Giants offer. And then someone said, a team that was close to 100 miles away from where he grew up, meaning the Dodgers. I think that, they look into every player, but I really think they're biding their time and saving up for a bigger fish in the sea in Los Angeles, Shohei Ohtani. I think they're going to try to save all their capital and get all the money off the books as they can to go in big on Ohtani. And as a Padres fan, as a Giants fan, or as a Diamondbacks fan, you want to hope that you can do whatever you can to keep Ohtani out of your division unless it's for your team.
Well, when they start to stink, the Angels, and we all know this, they will. He's going to become available in trades.
Start to stink. They've been stinking.
I mean, they're
rancid.
They're a sunk ship, dude. It's Titanic 4 years after it sank. Like, it's a disaster over there. Every guy they sign is a curse. Rendon, Hamilton, Pujols, curse.
Yeah, I mean, Ohtani's not really a curse.
But he wasn't like that. He wasn't as big of a contract as these guys.
Right.
The combined damage in the lineup that Hamilton, Rendon, and Pujols did, pathetic.
Upton,
horrible.
Yeah.
Upton was probably the best of the four, which is not good.
Right.
And then he's going to be available. And if Ohtani is available, I mean the amount of prospects you could get, you could really flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
We all know how they've developed guys though outside of Mike Trout. They may have to package Mike Trout in this deal to get him off the books. Like Mike Trout should conceivably be on the move this year.
Or Rendon.
Or both.
Yeah.
Like, they may have to get rid of everybody involved unless they compete.
We'll see what that package entails, because I don't know that there's anyone out there that really understands like how much it would really take. You might take like 10 of your top guys in your farm system.
As far as what we've seen from the Dodgers in the last 5 years, though, that's the only kind of logical step that they are working towards is going after Shohei Ohtani. This has not been a passive team.
No,
by any account.
Not at all. They let Trey Turner walk, like they're balking at Correa because they're scared of what their fans would think. I mean, obviously you got Dansby Swanson still out there. We'll see where he ends up, but they do need a shortstop. I mean, Gavin Lux, he's played second base, played shortstop, but like, is that your shortstop of the future? They let Corey Seager walk.
He played pretty well last year, but is he a Dansby Swanson? Is he a guy that's been in the bright lights, which is for the Dodgers?
I like Lux.
I do too, but you're the Dodgers. You're supposed to be winning a World Series every single year.
Yeah, I mean, look.
There's pressure there. Bellinger, you lose another rotational outfielder that you can put in who hit really well when they went on that World Series run.
Yeah, but I think the money that they cleared up with Bellinger, with both Turners, Justin Turner and Trey Turner, David Price is off their books now. It's kind of like dead weight, honestly. Like, Justin Turner was on the decline. Cody Bellinger had an abysmal season. David Price barely played. I mean, Trey Turner is really the only thing that hurts there. And they knew that it was a 2-year rental. They knew that was the case when they traded for him with Max Scherzer. Right. So for them, I think they know exactly what they're doing. I mean, this is an organization that has run itself pretty well for the last 10, 15 years. Now, what's been shown on the actual record books in terms of like how they've performed hasn't really gone their way.
Underperformed.
But by and large, this team has done a good job constructing rosters.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about underperforming in the playoffs. You look at the regular season for this team, they've been the best team in baseball for the last 5 to 7 years.
What would you have rathered last year? Would you have rathered the Dodgers regular season?
Padres, for
sure.
There
you go.
Sure, but you
can't predict that. Like you put yourself.
I'm saying hindsight 2020. What would you rather?
Playoffs, you want to win the quote unquote pennant every single year. You want to be at the top of the division. You give yourself home advantage in the playoffs. Like that's, and then your players have to go there and
with
do it
Xander Bogaerts. Like, look, they get Walker Buehler back, and if I'm the Dodgers, my move right now is Nathan Eovaldi. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But right now, as it stands, I can't confidently say the Dodgers are going to win this division.
What more could have they done last year to win the World Series, the Dodgers? Like, what could have they added? Because we talked about at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Pitching depth.
They
yes. Dealt with the Buehler being out was huge.
But
yeah.
I mean, it's like the Bucks missing Middleton.
No.
It was a big deal.
Look at the guys though, who they had. They had Gonsolin, who was the starter
But also got hurt late in the season, though.
Yeah, but I mean, pitching depth. They had Heaney who played well. They had Tyler Anderson who looked like an all-star. Urias.
Look who won, and look what their rotation was. Like no one could match up with it.
Those guys were like, I don't know, like Gonsolin. I can't argue with you. Gonsolin and Anderson, Heaney was solid. Like those guys had like above their pay grade years. There's a lot of guys that had above their pay grade years, but like. You look at who won, like Verlander, Valdez, Javier, like Garcia, like McCullers thrown in the mix. Like that was a team of an arms race you couldn't beat. The Phillies,
not to mention their bats are just as good as anyone else.
I respect what the Padres did because seeing what the Phillies did with Trey Turner,
which makes me believe though that the Dodgers might be in on Rodon, or they should be at least.
They should be.
Padres also need to add a starting pitcher, though, because right now, as it's slated, you got Joe Musgrove, you got Yu Darvish, you got Blake Snell, both guys who become free agents next season. We'll see if they get extended or re-signed. But you do need some depth there because Nick Martinez re-signed. I mean, he's kind of like a super utility pitcher who can be in the relief and he could start. But do you go after Senga, the Japanese guy coming over from Japan, or do you go after Rodon, or do you make a trade for Corbin Burns because you have the top prospect in the organization who's a shortstop? Where's he going to play? He's never going to see the field.
I mean, is Burns going to be? Is he like the guy that's about to be available?
He's been made available from what I've heard. I mean, obviously, like I'm sure the Brewers listen to every single trade. I mean, they're the Brewers.
What about Woodruff too?
Yeah,
are they going to blow that whole thing up? I don't know.
You feasibly have 4 bats that could win the NL MVP. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
They'll never give it to Bogarts, but yes, he should be.
Yeah, especially if the rest of that lineup is setting him up to do work, like his numbers could get a little inflated.
You have a 300 hitter. Like how rare is that? Like these days. I mean, I know his average dropped towards the end of last year, but like he's a career 292 hitter. Like. And also, you're talking about the Padres adding a pitcher. Like sometimes a good offense is the best defense. And what I just said is like the Dodgers going after Eovaldi. Maybe the Padres make that move.
Yeah,
block him
we need
from
somebody.
Going to the Dodgers.
We need somebody.
Like that's what I said. Like going back to where I started with the Red Sox is like you're the Boston Red Sox. You're not the aforementioned Pirates, the Royals, the Athletics. Like look what are the Rangers going to be good? I don't know, but. They're doing, if you can throw the money, they're doing it the right way because they've taken Leiter, they have Young, they have Rocker. Like whether he's used as a starter or a bullpen guy, we'll see. But like that's a good arm, really one of the best college arms we saw the last 5-6 years. Martin Perez is back. We'll see. But like again, like you're not expecting that much out of him. John Gray was solid last year, and then you go and you buck up and you get Semien and you get Seager,
right.
and then now you get DeGrom,
and you let your other guys develop, and you have to hit. You have to hit on those guys in the minors. But like look what Nate Lowe did last season.
About to say,
pretty damn good.
Garcia.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you have a group of guys over there. That's like they're better than the Angels for sure. Oh, they're better than the A's without question. Like they could compete with the Mariners.
Yeah,
we went and got Colton Wong and a good swap for Jesse Winker, and they're one of those teams that are banking on. I mean, they could go after Ohtani too, but they're banking on their guys getting better. Their young guys. I mean, that's also a part. It's a major part of it.
But I guess no salary cap. You have to be aggressive, right? Like
in this day and age,
just bank on guys getting better
because now the Yankees are locked in with Judge and Garrett Cole. And yeah, they have to build out the rest of a roster, but it's automatically one bat
That's
better.
That's a good core.
It's a better bat than the Red Sox have. Maybe any 2 guys combined. No, I mean Devers. But like outside of Devers, any 2 guys combined. He's worth 2 guys in the Red Sox
better
lineup.
Pitcher than any Red Sox have.
Not even a question. And then now we're even talking about the Blue Jays. And the Rays even, like with Wander Franco, and we'll see what they do. That division is deadly. And then you go to the NL, though, like back to them, like the NL East is going to eat each other alive. The Nationals stink, but the Marlins have a pitching rotation.
They do, but they might blow that up too. I've heard that Pablo Lopez could be made available.
Yeah, whatever. But they have other guys. Like Alcantara's like the big fish,
right?
Like, right. You can't trade him, and having him there, the Cy Young winner, is the piece you build around. Rest in peace, Jose Fernandez, but like that's what he was supposed to be for that franchise, and you can't miss out twice on an opportunity like that.
Yeah.
But then you have the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets.
I wouldn't say it was like a missing out.
I know, not a miss out. It's just like a poor circumstance, obviously, but like that was supposed to be their core nucleus.
Yeah.
And now you're in a situation. If you're the Padres, you have to look at the rest of the NL and go, okay, the Cards are going to win the Central. Are we better than the Cardinals? Yes, because we could pitch better than them. The Dodgers, whether they win the division or we win the division, doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah.
Because we took them out.
We just got to get there.
You just got to get there and get healthy. You just got to get there healthy. Because now you could compete with Bogarts with the Phillies, who they'll get Bryce Harper back around the All-Star break, and they've added Trey Turner. Like, that was probably the perfect guy to add for them.
But we've added Tatis and Xander Bogaerts now.
Exactly. So now you've added 2 bats to go with it. I mean, there's a lot of... I mean, the Mets also... I don't want to say they're quiet because they brought in Justin Verlander, and that's a major piece.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like some other moves as well, though, that the Padres could make other than starting pitching that I mentioned, and then, of course, adding what we've already added. I think getting someone to be like your like guy at DH is going to be pivotal. Adding some slug there. I look at a guy like Luke Voit, who was with our team last year and who got traded over to Washington in that SODE deal. I look at maybe bringing back a guy like Framil Reyes for vibes.
For Animal.
I mean, he was beloved by Padres fans and by the locker room, and he's a big power hitter.
Well, why not Profar? Like, I know you want the bop, but like maybe get a guy that plays some positions.
I wouldn't mind Profar as well because he's a super utility guy. He can move all around the diamond, and he also is a switch hitter.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of lefty bats in the lineup, but he's also good for vibes as well. I mean, look, if you're winning the vibes like in the league, the vibes contest, then you're sitting pretty good because vibes also, accumulate wins.
I mean, dude, look at Kyle Schwarber. Like, seriously, like Colin Scott, I think is his name. He does the cover of Dancing on My Own.
Callum Scott,
yeah, which is one of the best auditions in the history of like singing auditions on like TV, whatever. It was like 1 billion streams back-to-back years. Because he went to the Red Sox, and that was their song. And then he went to the Phillies, and he brought that song to them, and they went to the World Series.
Yeah.
Like, the Red Sox, like, I'm not going to gripe on them too much longer, but it's not like a team that's been in the doldrums. They went to the ALCS 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, I respect the Giants going for Aaron Judge because they were a 100-win team 2 years ago. And they're going, okay, maybe we had a fallback last year, but we have to kind of regress to some kind of mean,
Yeah.
or progress to some kind of mean.
I mean, I thought last year was a regression to the mean because we know that was an overperform 2
Yeah,
years
I
ago.
agree.
Yeah, but if you're getting 100 wins the year after you stink, you have to go, okay, I at least have to get to 80-something.
The bottom line is you're the Boston Red Sox. Like, that's all you really need to say. And, like, it's bad. They're the biggest head scratcher right now in the MLB.
Because... They are.
Who else is?
They are, dude.
We already knew the Yankees.
And I'm not even saying this biasly.
They're mismanaging everything.
The Red Sox, like, look who they've signed.
Yeah.
You don't know what this Japanese guy's. I hope he's great,
so
but you don't know.
They signed Yoshida, the other Japanese hitter, the outfielder, and then they've signed Kenley Jansen. Who else have they signed so far?
Last year they signed Trevor Story. So you signed an injury-prone bat who was playing in Colorado. We all know how that works. Then you bring in a Japanese, star, but you never know how those guys pan out. That was the exact conversation that you and I had yesterday. You bring in Kenley Jansen to start the conversation we had yesterday is like, he's 3 outings away from maybe being over the hill. He could break at any moment. You don't bring back Eovaldi. The Sale contract is ballooned, right, and sucking you down like a weight. Understandable. You haven't re-signed Devers. You didn't trade Bogaerts at the deadline. Like, I hope the farm's great. You have to, again, time and time again, I say this, build from with the farm, but you still have to make good moves with your pro roster.
I think you just aren't seasoned enough in heartbreak. I mean, I know you're a Texas Longhorn fan, but I think you've been a little too spoiled with the Pats and the Celtics and the Red Sox winning so many championships.
But I saw this is how it
is for a lot of teams in all across sports.
I saw the Celtics be bad, but I saw them managed properly.
But you've also had another team to fall back on.
Objectively,
you've had 2 teams to fall back on.
It's a big market team, and always has been.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not going to operate like I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates.
You shouldn't.
I'm not saying the Pittsburgh Pirates, but like you gotta like kind of just take a step back a little bit and just watch the rest of the league unfold.
If my team is going to I've seen the Cubs be bad, but I've seen the Astros be bad, but I've seen them do it the right way without making any haphazard signings, and that's what we've done with the Story signing, the Jansen signing, and the Yoshida signing.
Maybe your Red Sox are saving up for Ohtani. They got the Japanese guy, maybe they're homies. Maybe that's something there.
I mean, if they're absolute boys, then dope. But I'll eat my words.
Saving up is such an interesting phrase in baseball. It's like...
Well, I mean, okay, look. Saving up for depth is one thing, but Ohtani is going to get over $400 million. He's going to get the biggest contract in MLB history. I think there's no doubt in my mind. He is two players. He's a starting pitcher and he's an outfielder and a DH, power bat. He's going to get the most money anyone's ever seen. So saving up in this situation is definitely warranted.
Yeah, but you haven't, though, because you've given like now $250 million to this Japanese guy in Trevor Story.
And you also have to build a team around Ohtani that can win.
Yeah. So we'll see if they can do that. We'll be right back to talk some more pigskin, a little football. Josh Fisher, Alexander Tosmanakisopoulos, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Kreider.